What is going on, Crimson Tide fans? It is a big week this week, and not just because the Crimson Tide are facing Georgia, but because it is the next game on the schedule. So if you guys want Alabama to beat Georgia this weekend, make sure you hit the like button for me right now. You know, a couple thousand people are probably going to watch this video, so we should probably get a couple thousand likes on this video. So help me out, like today's video for me right now. We're going to be talking about some injury news coming up on today's show, both for Georgia and for Alabama. I think, things are looking a little bit better for Alabama on that front right now, but, we'll see what happens as the week goes on. Also, want to talk about a couple players to watch. We're going to pick 5 players. I think you could probably pick more than 5 players, but we're going to stick to 5 on today's video. First things first, I want to talk about some of these Georgia injuries. Tate Ratledge, one of the biggest injuries for Georgia right now. He is their starting right guard. He will be out for this game. Both knee and ankle had tightrope surgery, so he's getting over that, and it's going to be a couple of weeks for him. Running back Roderick Robinson, he had toe surgery a couple of weeks ago. He is also going to be out for this game. But they still got some very, very talented running backs there as well. Georgia, one of the biggest things for them, they've been banged up along the defensive line. Warren Brinson, Jordan Hall, former 5-star defensive lineman in that 2023 class, as well as Malachi Williams, been suffering from an ankle injury. Both him and Jordan Hall have been out since Warren Brinson have been out since that Clemson game. They played in that. Malachi Williams had 2 TFLs in that game. So, he is a very, very important player for Georgia on the defensive side of the ball. He, right now, those 3 guys are probably going to be probable for this game. And, I would doubt, honestly, that we would not see them in this game. It's the biggest game, really, so far for Georgia as well. Going over to the Alabama injuries. Pretty positive news in this case. Malachi Moore suffered, concussion-like symptoms a couple weeks ago during that Wisconsin game. Banged heads with Keon Saban. That sounds like he's going to be good to go for Alabama coming up here for this game. Kalen DeBoer said he has gone through, some things last week, and he started off pretty positive this week. Russaw suffered from a lower leg injury, whether it was a knee, ankle, I think it's kind of the same thing there. It sounds like things are looking up for him as well. Cole Adams sounds like, he's been doing some things coming along. I think Cole Adams and Richard Young are probably more of the questionable kind of category, but for right now, it sounds like Russaw and Malachi Moore are pretty probable for this game coming up against Georgia. So let me know in the comment section, guys, what is your confidence level in Alabama beating Georgia this weekend? Scale it for me 1 to 10 in the comment section. It is the pinned comment of today's video, so you know what that means by now. That ad will come here on YouTube right after this, so take advantage of it. You can ignore the ad. Get down there and scale your confidence level in Alabama beating Georgia this weekend. Okay, the first one I'm going to cheat. It's going to be players, more of a position group to watch. It's going to be this Georgia offensive line, man. They've been pretty banged up. We talked about the fact that Tate Ratledge is going to be out in this game for Georgia, but really it's not even going to be his backup, Mykel Morris, that I think Alabama is going to have to, take advantage of. I think really Mykel Morris has been pretty solid so far in where he has played or when he has played this season. Maybe Alabama can take advantage of, just the fact that he hasn't played as much as some of these other guys. But, man, I mean, he's been honestly pretty solid for Georgia in the little bit of time that he has played so far this year. I think where Alabama really needs to take advantage of Georgia's offensive line are those tackles. Both Ernest Green III and Xavier Truss haven't been very good this year. Same with Monroe Freeling. He's allowed 3 pressures this year for Georgia. All 3 of those guys, just have not been very good when it comes to both run blocking and pass protection, honestly. Both of those guys over 120 snaps for Georgia. So I think Alabama is really going to have to take advantage of them, which is going to bring us to our second guy for players to watch. And this one's going to be for Alabama. It's going to be Quandarius Robinson. Look, I think Quandarius Robinson has played very, very well for Alabama so far this season. Honestly, he's probably played a little bit better than I expected him to, play so far this season. I think he's really going to have to get after it and take advantage of, the guys at tackle for Georgia along their offensive line. Because, look, like I said just a second ago, they have not been very good this season. And where Alabama has thrived on the defensive side of the ball, there's been, a couple places. But I think that Wolf position has really been one of the better position groups for Alabama on the defensive side of the ball. Both Russaw and Quandarius Robinson have just absolutely been lights out for Alabama so far this season. So I think at the end of the day, Alabama's going to have to get pressure on Carson Beck. Look, Carson Beck has been solid this year. He missed some throws against Kentucky in that game let's just be honest. He's probably not going to miss those throws against Alabama in a big game like this. But Carson Beck under pressure this year, only 36% completion percentage. Now, that is not necessarily when blitz. That is just when, teams are getting pressure on him without blitzing him. So if Alabama's front four can get some solid pressure on Carson Beck in this game, I think there's a chance that he has a long day on Saturday night. Make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. We will be live for our watch party, Alabama against Georgia, and we will be giving away a Jalen Milroe jersey. We'll be doing a raffle for that this weekend, so do not miss out. Make sure you guys are subscribed right now. The third player to watch for this week, look, it's got to be Tim Keenan for me. I could have gone a couple of different ways with this one, but I think Tim Keenan has really done a phenomenal job for Alabama's front this season. And he's been really good. He's kind of played his way. He was already a starter, but, he has been a dominant force for Alabama. And he's going to be kind of a part of that defensive line that is going to also have to stop ETN as well, because he's also a really solid running back for Georgia. We'll talk about Tim Keenan a little bit more, but I want to give a shout out to our sponsor today. That is Factor. Guys, look, we are doing our Bengals watch party tonight for Monday Night Football, which means I'm probably not going to get it out of the office till well over after midnight. And I just do not have time to cook. That's why I use Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals thanks to a menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus. They've got it all. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you will always have time to find and enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. Make today the day you kickstart a healthy routine. What are you guys waiting for? Factor has 35 different meal options and more than 60 different add-ons that you can choose from every single week. You will always have new flavors to explore. And guys, I've tried Factor so many times. They are absolutely delicious. You guys can crush your wellness goals this month with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients that you can trust. Head to factormeals.com/BamaChat50 and use promo code BamaChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your second box as well. One more time, that's promo code BamaChat50 at factormeals.com/BamaChat50 to get 50% off your first month's order and then 20% off your second month while your subscription is active. That link will be in the comment section and the description of today's video. All right, back to Tim Keenan. Look, he's been really, really good for you this year. He has been a run stopper for Alabama up the middle. And look, PFF has credited him also with 9 stops. And yes, what is considered a stop? Well, their definition is, quote, tackles that constitute a failure for the offense. So, just look, at the end of the day, it's stuffing the run up front. And that's what Alabama is also going to have to do because, look, they're going to have to take everything away from Georgia on the offensive side of the ball. They've got some pretty solid rushers. Trevor Etienne has been okay for Georgia this year, but you best believe he is going to be out there and he is going to be trying to prove himself because of the fact that he, has not jumped off the screen for the first couple of games of the season. He was suspended the first game as well. This Alabama defensive front, I think they, I'm still a little iffy on whether or not I believe that that Alabama can stop the run. I think they have absolutely the talent up front to be able to do that. But look, man, when you got Tim Smith, I think he's had a phenomenal year so far for Alabama. A whole lot better, honestly, than I thought he was going to have. Jaheim Otis, I thought he looked really, really good in the first game of the season, but haven't seen him as much as I thought we would this year. So, look, it's going to be a big game for Alabama's defensive line up front, especially that bandit position as well. LT Overton, Jamarian Latham, they've been having incredible years for Alabama. So they're definitely going to have to stop Georgia, from being able to run the ball like they would absolutely like to. So let me know again in the comment section, guys, will Alabama hold Georgia to under 100 rushing yards? Type Y for yes or N for no in the comment section. They were able to do it the first game against Western Kentucky, but they were not able to do it the next game. So let me know in the comment section right now. The next player that I want to talk about is Kendrick Law. We talked about him a little bit last week as well. But look, Kendrick Law has kind of been kept under wraps this season so far for Alabama. Only 2, targets / carries. He carried the ball one time, and then he was targeted on one other pass from Jalen Milroe. And I think he is definitely a guy that Alabama, just hasn't wanted to, really, tip their hand, if you want to call it like that, because look, I mean, Alabama at the end of the day has a ton of playmakers on offense. You take out the fact that you got Jalen Milroe, one of the best running quarterbacks in the country. You got 2 of the best running backs as well that can make plays for you. You got Jeremy Bernard, Kendrick Law, Kobe Prentice, Ryan Williams. I mean, all these guys can make plays for you. And look, his number just at the end of the day hasn't really been called that much yet, which isn't necessarily, a bad thing because, like I said, they're not giving looks to Georgia, early on in the season. But I think Kendrick Law is definitely, a guy that can definitely break out for Alabama in this game. And it's just kind of up to both Nick Sheridan and Kalen DeBoer to, figure out when they really want to, take advantage of his skill set because, you don't want to show everything the first couple games of the season, especially when you got a game against Georgia, one of the best, really, if not the best right now, college football program in the country. So let me know last time in the comments section, guys, who breaks out for Alabama on offense in this game against Georgia. I think you got a lot of different options that you can choose from, but let me know who you think will break out for Alabama on offense this weekend. The last player to watch, you probably guessed it, you got to put Jalen Milroe in this category. Look, I absolutely love the designed runs that Nick Sheridan, has really been calling for Jalen Milroe in the first couple games of the season so far. 36 carries, 150 yards. He's averaging over 4 yards per carry. Probably should be, or definitely should be more than what it is right now. You had that 74-yard touchdown that was also taken off the board. Jalen Milroe's been lights out, and when you use him like I think you should use him, like I think they really kind of have been using him, I think that bodes well for Alabama's offense. Look, just use him like Lamar Jackson. He's not some, wild. He's not going to throw the ball all over the field. We know what he can do with his arm. He's not, really the guy. You don't have to force the intermediate routes. Just run some play action, run some quarterback design runs. The design runs is probably going to get the safeties up. If you're able to run the ball on offense, which is going to depend on Alabama's offensive line going up against Georgia's defensive line as well, you don't really need to throw or really force those intermediate routes. You can definitely not just, I don't want you to just take them out of the playbook altogether, but you don't need to force them at the end of the day. Really, what you need to focus more on is Jalen Milroe getting the right protections when it comes to the offensive line. You saw a couple weeks ago against South Florida, they did a really, really good job of scheming different things up in different kind of ways that, Jalen Milroe got very confused on, and that did not help Wilkin Formby at all. They slid the protection sometimes over to the left, and then, the blitz came from the right side and vice versa. So, Kirby Smart's not stupid. He's one of the best defensive coaches in the country, not just head coach. It's not like he saw that game and then is not going to do some of those same things. Kirby Smart is definitely going to, I expect bring some exotic looks Jalen Milroe's way. And, if he's able to pick those different things up, slide the protection, get it right, the offensive line is able to give him time, they'll be able to hit on the deep ball. Jalen Milroe, he's going to be able to scramble. But like I said, you do not necessarily need to force those intermediate routes. Back to that Lamar Jackson take just a second ago. He only threw the ball 15 times against the Cowboys yesterday, and you saw what they were able to do on the ground. I think Alabama's going to have to do the same thing against Georgia.